Welcome, 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 everybody, to In the Loop Lupus Live with Lupus in Color, where we are sharing Lupus Warrior stories to educate, inspire, encourage, and empower everyone that can hear us. Let's get to the house rules first. You know how we do. We always have to start with our Lupus in Color disclaimer, because we want to make sure that you're doing the right thing for yourself and not just taking our advice. So let's do that real quick. Let me hide this ticker real quick. Let me hide the comment, and then we will get started in seeing that the information provided during this is not the Chronic Courage podcast, but the Lupus in Color podcast and live events are not meant to be used as a substitute for professional medical advice. This information provided and presented is for educational purposes only. Please check with your own physician before changing anything in your treatment plan. The information contained in any video or live event is not intended to recommend the self-management of health problems or wellness. No information presented should be used by any attendee to disregard medical and or health related advice or provide a basis to delay consultation with your personal physician. Persons accessing this information assume full responsibility for the use of the information and understand and agree that Lupus in Color or its presenters are not responsible or liable for any claim, loss, or damage arising from the use of this information. I'm so happy we got that out the way. Awesome. Let's go on, because we have a great lupus warrior here, and I want to introduce him to you first before we start off. We want to be respectful of everybody's time. So let me tell you a little bit about Emmitt. Emmitt Henderson III was diagnosed with systemic lupus and lupus nephritis in 1995, but had symptoms going back to 1980. He decided to educate for the same disease that debilitated him since 1995 and to talk about his mental health got him through how mental health got him through it. He created an organization called Male Lupus Warriors Corporation to spread lupus and mental health awareness. He holds a safe space for men to meet and talk about their hardships in life. And he encourages everyone to not be a victim to their illness. Emmitt has traveled and is able to spread lupus awareness all over the country. He is now currently doing home hemodialysis and on the transplant list for another kidney. Emmitt now advocates for organ donation and educates how home hemodialysis is done. That's the short of what he's done. I can't wait to get into his story. I don't want to wait anymore. Let's bring him up to the stage and let's talk to Emmitt and find out about his amazing, amazing story. Hey, Emmitt.
Hi, Raquel. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here today.
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. I'm not screaming, am I?
Nope, you sound good.
Well, I just want to thank you so much for agreeing to meet with us today. I'm excited to talk to you because, we've been communicating on and off the whole time. We're part of several different organizations that we work together with. So I'm so excited to be here with you today. So let's get right to it. So we're not going to spend too much time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So can you share your journey with lupus from the initial diagnosis to where you are now? I know that's a loaded question, but share it with us.
It is, and I'll make it brief. A lot of people know my story, but a lot of people don't. So where it starts way back, and like you had mentioned in the bio, in 1995 is when officially being diagnosed. But just like most lupus patients, we've had the symptoms way beyond that. And mine did, where they went back to 1980 as a kid. So in 95, fast forward, when I got diagnosed, I had really bad joint pains that I kept getting dismissed 3 different emergency room episodes because it hurt. They can't find nothing. You're a strong young man. Go home, come back whenever. And every time I came back, I kept hearing the same things. X-rays never showed lupus in your joints. It doesn't. So, of course, they send me home. It got to a point, Raquel, where at my position at work as a manager, I got tired of missing out on work. And then the most thing, I got tired of being dismissed. So I didn't go back. And I'm
Mm.
talking about, I didn't go back for about another 2 years. And this was in 93. 2 years later in 95, I went in because the pain was so severe. And it wasn't just my joints this time, it was my lower
Mm.
back. And now I
Mm.
know that there's no joint in my lower back. So they got to find something. Now, this time they decide to draw my blood. When they drew my blood, something was wrong. Got transferred from the clinic to the hospital. 3.5 months later, test after test after test, a rheumatologist comes in and tells me that she believes that I have an illness that is rare for my ethnicity, rare for my gender, and rare
Mm.
from my age. It's that
Wow.
rare. And then I asked her what was it. She said lupus. Never heard of it, never knew
Mhm.
what it was. But then her explanation of what it is after that is what got me when she said
Mhm.
it's a woman's disease. And I
Mm.
said, what does that mean? But this is
Right.
how it was explained in 95. So I got diagnosed in 1995 with lupus. I had no way of knowing what it was. I had no internet to do research on. A pamphlet that they gave me a woman's anatomy in it. So I felt like I can't learn from this. So I asked, can I take my pills and go home? She said it doesn't work that way. 30
Mm.
pills later. 30
Ooh.
pills later, I got home. I was able to go home, take my pills, and my journey started from there. Fast
Wow.
forward, to 2019 with a kidney transplant due to failed kidneys, lupus
Mm.
nephritis, more diagnosis, including Sjogren's, rheumatoid arthritis, MTCD, and a couple other things along the way. And then
Right.
also liver failure, lung failure, heart failure,
Mm.
stroke. I've had the knee replacement. I've had shoulder replacement. I've had so many different episodes of ER visits and then flares. I went through
Right.
14 months of continuous flares that put me in the hospital on average 2 weeks a month for 14 months. It
Come
was
on.
crazy. It was crazy. So the last
Wow.
flare was my heart failure that I went into, and because of that heart failure, after getting out about 3.5 months later, being in a coma, having to learn how
Mm.
to walk and talk and all that stuff again, the doctor was proactive with me and found a clinical trial for me. So this
Mm.
trial was a bone marrow stem cell transplant for my lupus.
Right.
And that actually saved my life and gave me years of continuous living, because if I would have had another flare with my heart, the doctors wouldn't have thought I would have made it.
Oh my
So
gosh.
2019 comes, and well, I back up. Before that, I had a stroke. I've had some symptoms from lupus, but not the major flares that I was having. So I've had a stroke. I have a lot more other ER visits,
Right.
unexplained fevers they couldn't explain,
Mm.
fatigue, and then in 19, a brain disease.
Oh
And
my
so
gosh, Emmett.
I know. It's like it just keeps going, and here I am as a young man. Keep in mind, from 2019, I was a manager of my company working in the automotive and trucking industry. I
Okay.
maintained work through it all up to 2019. I got lucky. I was a good worker. They loved my work. I
Right.
was the type that will keep you. Just take the time off that you need to get better. It may get paid, it may not get paid, but
Right.
to 2019, I kept my employment, but the brain disease would not let me sign off to go back to work because of operating heavy machinery. I
Mm.
had a big, crew behind me that I had to manage. So that crushed me because I really felt, having lupus, I needed to keep my mind off something else. And that was work for me at the time.
Right. Right.
Fortunately, I couldn't go back. And so I got time off. And what I did with my time off is where I'm at today. I created
Wow.
my own nonprofit for male lupus warriors. I wanted, like you said in the bio, I wanted to give back to a community that I didn't know existed and help people through with their autoimmune condition. If I can get through everything that I've been through, I'm not saying everybody will, but I would hope to help and inspire others that are going through something just as bad, that there is hope.
Absolutely.
We can do it. I'm a big fan of yours, and I'm a big fan of a lot of people in the community. So it doesn't matter what state I'm in my health, how long I've been diagnosed. It's just that we as a community, we inspire each other, and it what keeps us going. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love how you said that because, we've been fans of each other for so long. It feels like I know you, like you're my brother from another mother. You know what I'm saying? We're about the same
absolutely, yeah.
age. So,
Yep, yep.
it really feels that way. But I want to talk about something that you stated early on and when you started talking, and that's the feeling of feeling dismissed.
Oh,
And how has that gotten different, if it has at all? Because sometimes it's some things change and still stay the same. So
right.
talk to me about being a man with lupus and feeling dismissed, and then how that plays on your own mental health.
Absolutely. As of today, it changed tremendously because of education.
Right.
Now that I'm educated on this disease, now that I'm educated more on how my body reacts to things, now I know how to advocate for myself now. And when I go see the doctors, there is no more dismissal. There is, I am here. You are going to hear me, and you are going
Absolutely.
to help me. And
Absolutely.
because of that, it makes a whole whoops. Can you guys see me still?
Yeah, we can still see you.
Okay, so because of that, it makes a whole world of a difference.
Right.
Education is key, and that's just how it has to, that's how it works for me. That's how
Hmm.
it works.
Right. And now you've been through so much. I mean, good Lord. I knew your story. But when you speak a story, it gives a different life. And that's why I do these lives with Lupus Warriors, because it really does give a different life, not only to the person hearing it, but to
Yes,
you speaking it. It gives you a little bit of healing,
absolutely.
to deal with all that and get through it. How do you change your mindset after all you've been through? How have
Um,
you been able to change your mindset to get to a point to where you are today? Because someone said in the comments, but Emmitt stays smiling. Don't he though? and we know that probably behind closed doors, we all have our times where we just have to just let it all loose. But
right.
how did you change your mindset? How did, besides education, how did you change your mindset to get to where you are today? And that's advocating for yourself and others.
And that's the part of it right there. For one, is advocating for myself, and two, convincing myself that I am stronger than this disease. I am stronger than lupus, and whatever it brings to me, that I'm ready for it. So that's the mindset that I went into this whole thing from the very beginning, because as I mentioned, that I maintained my work. That was everything to me, because I was raising my kids as well, and
Mhm.
so I needed my income. So I told myself, this disease will not take me and let me lose my job, and I will go ahead and do it. Now, as a manager, they didn't see that on my worst days, I was in my office with my door closed and head down. They don't see that, but I
Right.
showed up to work. I was able to do my job. I was able to perform and do everything I needed to do.
Right.
They didn't see some of the things that after I went home after 14 hours, it
Right.
was tough for me to do it,
Right.
but I maintained it. And as long as I vowed to myself that I know this disease is a life changer, but it
Mhm.
doesn't have to change the most important things in my life. And there's a
Right.
difference when we need to understand that. Yes, I will let it slow me down in my physical aspect because of lupus. I will let it, not let me stress and do this because of of everything that's going on. I'll let it change in that way, but not let it change my drive, not
Right.
let it change my commitments, not let it change all these other things, and especially time with my family and friends. And
Mm.
I've been able to maintain that no matter what. And I still
Yeah.
kind of do to this day.
And I love that about you. I love that about you. I love that no matter what's going on with you, you're always there. And even when you're not there, your presence is still felt, because sometimes we just have to take that time, you know what I mean?
Oh,
And
we
I and
do.
I tell me about that. How do you sometimes we don't have a choice to take the time. How do you make the decision to take some time for yourself away from social media and advocacy?
It's kind of knowing what your limits are. And
Mm,
men and women, that we're all strong. We all say that, my limit is very high. It's not. It's just because we push it to be very high. We
right,
push it.
right.
So I have to understand what is going to trigger my flare, my body, to actually slow me down and not to get to that point. So again, it's a lot of mental that I prepare myself for. When I went into kidney failure for the second time 2 years ago, up to now, I'm doing dialysis 6 days a week. I'm in a
Oof.
chair 4 hours a day.
Mm,
So
mm,
I told myself that is my rest time in those 4 hours. And I told
mm.
myself I was going to rest, watch TV, take a nap. Raquel, I'm on my chair and I'm on my laptop. I'm doing work. I'm making
I
calls.
know.
I'm on Zoom. I'm on Zooms, and it's like, here I am. But that's the part in me that says that I can do it. And if I was to find out that that jeopardizes my health in any kind of way, I would definitely cut back. But this guy up here keeps saying, just keep going,
Yeah.
Emmett. You can do it.
Yeah, and I applaud you for that because it's hard to continue to do advocacy work. We know being a lupus warrior is hard enough, but being
Yes,
an advocate for others while you're still in pain is is so hard. It's
it
so hard.
is. It is.
Talk about how you can do that because it's not as simple as everybody thinks it is. We make it look simple. You know what I'm saying? Like you're saying, I kind of just make up my mind to do it. But if someone's out there that's new, how do they just make up their mind to just do what they need to do for themselves?
Well, I would definitely say that you want to think about your health first. Don't think about, oh, I got diagnosed with lupus, so let me go ahead and continue everything that I'm doing. No, you
Right.
need to reevaluate everything that you're doing, because
Mm-mm.
there's a lot of things that we can prevent our health from getting worse. And if I would have known all of you guys were out there in 95 when I got
Right.
diagnosed. If I would have known social media from the beginning, and when it started, what, 98 or something like that,
Right. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
if I would have known there were lupus communities there, I would have known all of y'all, but I didn't. I only knew everybody up to 2019 and on. But listening to other people that's been in the game so long, like us,
Hmm.
they can also learn the fact that this isn't something that we take light at all. No,
Right.
we don't. Having this illness, we have to think about our every single day schedule, our movement, and reevaluate that to where, is this going to be okay for me to do? Is this event at 2 o'clock in the afternoon outdoors something that's going to be good for me to do? Is there's a lot of things that we have to know how our body's going to react to. So being somebody new, learn your body to what your lupus is affected and how. Educate yourself on what lupus does. Even though you feel you're not affected by it, you can
Mm.
still learn and maybe help avoid something that you can possibly cause a new symptom as you go on. So
Oh, that's an important point. That is an
absolutely.
important point because I don't think we even realize that, even as we're dealing with it, that what we do day to day makes a difference in what our body and how our body responds to lupus.
Yes, yes. And because of lupus, how mysterious it is, there's no there's always something new, no matter how long you've had it, that can
Yep,
come up. Do not dismiss it. Note it down that it happened. Educate from yourself in regards to, let's not let it happen again, and how
right.
to avoid it.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. Now, when you were first diagnosed, you were what, 20 something years old, probably.
25.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have a 26-year-old, so I'm imagining, having to deal with all of that. My son has type 1 diabetes, so he's kind of
Oh, sorry.
in the same kind of situation where a young man trying to just make it on their own and trying to just live their life. How did you react when you first heard about it? And then how did your support system jump in from there?
Well, and this is the hard part for me, because the way that I reacted was more denial.
Mhm.
You're telling me I got a woman's disease. When I asked her, am I going to die? And she said no, my
Mhm.
mind was made up. Then I'm going to live and I'm going to be okay.
There you go.
And then the thing is, though, at 25, I have my own property. I own my own cars. I'm raising two kids at a very young age. And I had things going for me to where I thought like I was on top of the world. I was making really good money at that age. And I'm doing well. And now you're telling me I got a disease that the lady told me literally that this disease will change your life and you may have to stop and quit a lot of things. This is without knowing me. This is
Right.
knowing the disease, but not knowing me. And
Right.
so
Right.
that's why I felt so strong about, okay, I'm going to see what I'm going to do. And I didn't have much of a support system years later because I kept it to myself. I didn't tell
Mm.
my family is the only ones that knew, but my family knew me that if you're going to say you're okay, we're going to trust you, you're okay. If you need something, we're here. My friends didn't know. Any of the women that I dated didn't know. My girlfriend at the time didn't know. By the way, she left me when I was in the hospital being diagnosed.
Mm.
So it's just so many things that I did not have a support system. And I tried to ignore the disease as much as I can. But taking over 30 pills a day, that was a struggle. And trying to
Yeah.
work 14 hours a day, that was a
Absolutely.
struggle.
There's so much that you just said, so much to unpack there, as far as the support system and people leaving you because you're sick and things of that nature. It's so difficult to deal with lupus in that state. It really is. It really, really is. And I applaud you. It kind of makes me see the type of person that you are and why you are that way. But I want to hit one thing that you stated,
Hmm.
and that is you kept it to yourself. You kept it to yourself. And do you find that in your male lupus warrior groups? I know you're having one on Thursday. Do you find that most men are holding that in and are embarrassed about it? Because women, they'll talk about it in a minute. But a man's like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to talk about this. I'm handling it.
That's the biggest. That's the biggest subject when it comes to our men's group. That's the biggest subject when a man emails me and tells me questions. It's the funny thing when I get an email, it's not hi, it's not how you're doing. It's how are you getting through this so positively?
Yeah.
How are you, able to take it day by day and this and that? I know you're going through dialysis, but how are you still active and doing this? So my thing with that is because of the fact that I didn't say anything for so many years, what
Mhm.
I'm doing today is preaching of what not to do, what I did back in the day. But then
Mhm.
again, I wasn't this same person back in the day. Lupus has taught me a lot. Lupus has made me stronger. Lupus has given me so many things to where I am strong enough now to be up against this. And the reason why back then was when you're told that you have a woman's disease, when somebody was to ask you what is lupus and you didn't really know how to explain it yourself,
Right.
it was something I didn't want to talk about. When I went into the hospital for maybe a month at a time, and I told what was wrong was based on the organ that they were concentrating on. Oh, what's
Mm.
wrong? What's wrong this time? Oh, my liver was off. They needed to do some tests. It took that long. That was it. My lungs, my blood, clots. I just so many things that was going on, but it was specific that I told the reasons why. Never said lupus. Never.
Mm.
Then
Mm.
about 3 years after my diagnosis, I see a lupus support group in my area. I'm like,
Mm.
wow, I gotta go to this. The internet just came out, I think, and I'm just starting to learn. So I gotta go to this, gotta go to this. So excited, waited for it, put it on my calendar, couldn't wait. And I finally get there. And let me tell you, Raquel, when I got there,
I can only imagine. I know exactly what you're about to
you
say.
know
Go
what I'm
ahead.
about to say. As a man and a person of color, I
Yes.
felt I did not fit in because there was no one in there but older white women,
Mhm.
and the look on my jaw just dropped, and I felt so out of place. And I asked myself, "Am I going to learn about lupus?" As I was standing in the doorway, I told myself, "I don't know. and I just
Mhm.
walked right back out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the struggle continued of knowing what lupus was, and
Right.
so it was
And
it was
and
tough.
trying to find a way to connect to someone that knew what you were feeling, that was like you.
Exactly that. And it wasn't anything there. And that's why today, when I say I want to give back to the community, what lupus has done to me was I want to be that voice for not just another man, but anybody with an illness, to let you know that it's okay to not be okay, and you
Right.
can be okay and you'll be all right. I want
Right.
to be that support that someone sees that you are going through these hardships, but yet you keep that smile going. How do I do that? And
Right.
so that's what I want, because I wish I had that.
Yeah. And I want you to clarify, you're not talking about toxic positivity. You're talking about really changing your mindset and doing what's best for you on your
Yes.
lupus journey.
Yes, toxic positivity is telling somebody with lupus that you're going to be all right. It's
Right.
not in that sense. It's more of you're going to be all right because you need to fight every single day. You need to
Hmm.
be strong every single day. It is
Right.
okay not to be strong every single day, and it's okay that lupus will make you step back a few steps. Just you just can't stay there. You just
Right.
have to keep on moving. So I, as myself, as everyone knows who I am, I hear it all the time. Emmitt, you're strong. Emmitt, you go through this, you go through that. Yes, I go through it, but that doesn't mean I don't hurt. That
Right.
doesn't mean that I don't take time off. That
Right.
doesn't mean that lupus just gave me a whole day off. No, it means all of that. And I
Right.
have
Right.
no problem being transparent that I could do an event one day, I'll be in the hospital the next, then I'll be out again the next day. I won't
Absolutely.
hide the fact that I was in the hospital, because that's not being real.
Right. Right. Right.
Being
Right.
real is showing how lupus affects me as a man, the way it affects all of us. And I'm just in the position as an advocate to show that, yes, I can do dialysis 6 days a week, 4 hours a day, and I could be on StreamYard with you. No problem.
Right. 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 And let's talk about the home dialysis, because that's something fairly new for you, and
Yeah.
it can be very difficult. You do have a support system in your girlfriend who also has lupus, which is great, because it's hard dating out there, as you stated earlier, with someone that
Yep.
does not have a chronic illness. So walk me through how you felt about that happening and what you're doing and how we can help you in this search to find a kidney for you.
Thank you. Doing dialysis is tough in no matter what stage you're in with kidney failure and how you're doing it. There's different ways of doing it. I found out that the majority of dialysis patients go to in clinic couple days a week, couple hours a day, just the schedule, and get it done with certified nurses and dialysis nurses.
Right.
Now, back in 2012, when I got my kidneys completely failed, I went into dialysis for about 15 months, and I needed to choose what was the best for me. Even though I was off of work, I still found myself to be busy. I'm good with my hands, so I like building things. I work on cars. I do so much. I can't see myself going into a clinic even 2, 3 times a week. So when I found out peritoneal dialysis was an option, and that's
Mm.
where I do it at home, they insert a tube in my stomach, 9 hours a night at home, wake up, disconnect, and I'm free the whole day. I chose that. Fast
Wow.
forward to 2022, and I did that for 15 months till I got blessed with a transplant from a kidney from my brother.
Wow.
2022, my kidneys failed again. I knew I was in kidney failure when I got back from advocating in Africa.
I remember.
When I got into kidney failure again, my mind was first thing, let's go back to peritoneal. I got an organization to run. I got a community to keep going. I got everything. So let's do peritoneal again. My peritoneal didn't last not even a month, and it failed.
Mm. Mm.
So they had to do hemodialysis, which is another port anywhere in my body. And my body rejected so many ports. 9 ports later of
Oh.
9 surgeries of having ports put in and fail. Chest, neck,
Mm,
side growing. I had all of these failed. My final fistula is in my arm now, and my here on my bicep now,
mhm.
where the peritoneal is not an option. And when they told me there's a home hemodialysis, but most patients don't want to do it, I said, I'm not most patients. Tell me how to do home hemodialysis.
Right, right. I want to be home.
Yeah, yeah. So me and Chanel went through the training. They showed us how to do it. And I'm like, okay, so I got to stick myself, which I used to do it when I had to give myself shots in the stomach and things like that. So it wasn't anything too new to me, but it's still new because these are totally different needles and these things are huge. So me and Chanel was able to go through the training of that. They provided the machine at home. They provided a recliner seat at home,
Wow.
and I do it at my convenience, when night or day. The point is, I'm at home. I'm able to do a lot of my own stuff at home. So I was started at 5 days a week, but unfortunately, I started feeling bad to where is my body rejecting dialysis.
Mm,
Then I went up to 6 days a week.
mm,
Then I had a scare of my numbers being so high, like potassium, I was in fear of a stroke or a heart attack. Now
mm.
they're telling me 7 days a week.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I got up to 7 days a week.
Hmm.
And after that improved after about 3 months, I'm down now to 6 days a week. And that's where I'm current now. So it is not for everyone,
Hmm.
because I've done some reels and I've done some videos of people of showing my routine of what I do for
Right.
the hemo. And some of the comments were, I don't see sticking myself. I can't stick myself. There's a lot to learn in the computer. What if there's alarms? How do you read the machine? I mean, it machine these type of mistakes doing this can be fatal. They
Right.
can be. Therefore, just like anything else that you operate and you do, you take
Hmm.
your time, you're educated first on it, you do some training on it, and you always make sure you take your time step by step, and sterilization.
Right.
So
Right.
that's my everyday routine, Raquel, every day.
Yeah. And you know what? I know a lot of people might come up to you and say, I don't know how you do it. Well, I don't have a choice. That's how I do it. It's
That's
it's
right.
it, it's what I have to do to stay alive.
Alive.
And you're planning to do that. That's what you want to do. You want to stay alive and keep going.
Yes, yes. The alternative is not an option.
Right. Exactly. 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 Sometimes lupus can be such an isolating disease, especially when you're dealing with so much like you are. How do you, as an advocate, and I'm speaking from one advocate to another,
Mhm.
how do you find your support? You know, how do you find people that can help you get through those things? I say often that a lot of stuff that I post, I know I post it for someone else, but it might be something that I'm going through myself. So, how do
Yes.
you find that support and how do you keep it so that you don't go stir crazy?
As I mentioned earlier, I'm inspired by everyone's lupus story that tells their story.
Hmm.
And you don't know you have a story till you tell it. Somebody out there is listening. When I hear somebody that just got diagnosed for, say, like a month, and they're going through a lot, and that lot could be, to us that are veterans in this game, could be considered minor to like joint pains and fevers. But when I hear somebody newly talking about that, I'm inspired because that's where it starts. Opening up. That's where it starts. Looking for help. That saying where a closed mouth doesn't get fed.
Right.
Those that are suffering in silence is the ones that's going through it the most. Now, I'm not saying jump on the microphone, get out to social media in the world. I have lupus. I'm going through this. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying
Right.
that. But
Right.
get involved with support groups. Talk to an advocate one on one, and maybe kind of let off what you've been thinking, let out what's been heavy on your shoulders, because somebody is out there listening. And when
Mm.
they're out there listening, you know, as the patient, as the person telling it, sometimes they don't even want to reply. They just want to let it all out. And us as advocates, when we hear them, we allow that to happen. We give them that space. You just don't know how much you're showing them, and how good they feel just by, wow, I'm glad. I was able to let it out and they listened to me.
Right.
I'm inspired when people tell me their story. I'm inspired when someone says, Emmett, thank you for what you do. Let me tell you what's going on with me. I am all ears to hear everything because first and foremost, I'm gonna let them know you are not alone. You're
Right. Right.
definitely not alone.
Right.
And I commend you for standing up. I commend you for talking about it. That's first and foremost, because giving them the thanks for just even picking up that phone, texting, messaging me, emailing me. Thank you for that. I'm inspired now. Let's talk.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. And I don't think that people realize how strong their story can really have an effect on so many people. And it's not even the point of you telling your story to have that effect, but if you can just have an effect on one person to make a change, that makes a difference.
Reach one, we teach millions, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I love it. I
Yes.
love it. I love it. People are just listening. I don't see any questions because you know what? It's that important to hear your story. There's no question about what you're doing is making a difference at all. There's no question
Thank you.
about that. Now, I want to say both of us just recently lost our parents. So I wanted to make sure that I gave you my condolences about that.
Thank you so much.
And I wanted to make sure that you knew that you were not alone with that. So I know your mom is gone, but I know she's with you. If
She,
she were here today, what would she say to you?
what she always say to me, did you eat today? And
I love it.
that she is proud of what I'm doing. And her remembrance of everything that I'm doing is the Lupus Warrior bracelet that I gave her that day one, I think, when I first got it a couple years ago, and she's never taken it off to
Look
this
at
day.
that. I
At
love it.
the viewing, it's like that's what I with her arms being together and with it still being on her wrist, it was so heartfelt for me, so heartfelt. So now I have another bracelet I made that is cancer awareness and
Hmm.
has her name on it.
Oh, I
And
love it.
this is with me for the rest of my life.
I love it. I
Not
love
coming.
it. I love
Yes,
it. And it's small things like that that make us want to continue to live on
it
and
does. It
have
does.
that spirit with us. Absolutely magnificent. Now, okay. The misconception about lupus being a woman's disease, it's just all over the world. What other misconceptions about lupus do you just want to smash right now?
That it's contagious. I mean, a lot
Mm,
of people feel that they don't know about it, but the first thing is that you have lupus, and it's like, well, can I catch it? Or you kind of see the reaction. Somebody takes a millimeter of a step back, but you know what they're
right,
doing.
right,
You
right,
know
right,
that. And I remember people asking me, you have lupus, are you gonna die? You have lupus. It's just people think in the most negative way, which
right,
when you say I have a disease, that's more of taking it in a negative way because that disease could be from what 0 to 1 million different types of diseases,
right,
right? But
right,
when you have lupus, unfortunately, a lot of people are not educated on it the way that people are, like with cancer or with diabetes. And when you say lupus, if you say it, when I do a poll, when I do a speaking in the audience of how many people can tell me that if they've heard of lupus,
right.
they raise their hand. Now you've heard of it. Those same people that heard of it, can you explain what it is? They put their
Mm,
hands down. So when you get that type of reaction and saying that lupus is contagious, it's a disease that I hope not to catch or whatever. No, people, it's not like that.
right,
If we do the homework and get educated on it, you'll understand that. That's the biggest one for me. And then, of course, the fact that what you have mentioned that lupus is not just a woman's disease. To this date, I think that that has spread out a little bit more because of the
Okay.
fact that more men are being a little bit more transparent and talking on social media. You know,
Yeah.
there's more of us advocates on there that are males that are, you know, putting our voices out there. All we're trying to do is measure up to the good work that you ladies have done for so many years, that the men are finally stepping up and being a voice now. So there
Absolutely.
is no category of this advocate male being here versus this one here. No, we're
Right.
all up here in
Right.
this thing together, just trying to be a voice and add to all the noise that you ladies are doing so well. We're just trying to add to it because lupus awareness needs to be out there. It needs to be in commercials. It needs to be out on our billboards, out on the streets. It needs to be on
Absolutely.
these infomercials that are playing. It needs to be
Absolutely.
when your TV goes to ads. Something needs to be on there for that to keep putting lupus in people's mind.
Right.
But
Right.
till then, Raquel, we're gonna keep doing what we
We're
do.
gonna keep doing it.
We're gonna keep doing it.
We're gonna keep doing it. We're gonna keep pushing it and keep letting people know that it's not just women, it's men, children. You
Right.
know, I had a situation where I was speaking to a nurse and she was like, I hardly ever see any black women come in with lupus. But come
Wow.
on, we need to start
Yeah.
re-educating people,
Yeah.
and when I say re-educating, have you ever come across some of your male lupus warriors that are coming back and they're being undiagnosed with lupus?
Not undiagnosed after being diagnosed, you mean?
Yes. Like if they
No.
change, like if they change doctors or something, now they're saying no, it's not lupus anymore, it's MS or something different.
There's and I take that back. There's actually one guy that was in our last month's group meeting, which I'm going to follow up this Thursday and find out, because he had said that he had went to another doctor and everything looked maybe that it's not lupus and something else. That's how we left it at that. And again, as we know, the way this disease is mimics so many different other diseases
Right.
that I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt that at all.
Mhm.
You know, so I pray that maybe he gets a different diagnosis, that whatever that it is can maybe be easier for him. Now they can get him the right treatments, because
Right.
think about it, a lot of us that have lupus or other the diseases, and the treatments, the long time, you know, regimen that we're doing on treatments is not working. Something is maybe not there, that's not balanced well. Whether
Right.
it's maybe we're taking medication for the wrong disease, or maybe we have a different disease for or basically the same thing for medication we're not taking. So
Right.
we need to, you know, be more proactive, be forward with our doctors. If something hurts, not working, let them know right away. Don't wait 6 months later when your next appointment comes. If you're hurting day 3 after your appointment and you have to wait 6 months, don't wait. Keep your
Yeah.
doctors informed, involved. They're there to help you. It's just that
Mm.
they can't if you're not being open with them.
Say it again. They are there to help you. I think a lot of times, a lot of people get stuck on, oh, the pharmaceuticals and the doctors are just out there to make money. So I think it's important that you say that. Being a black male, number one, and just having lupus, talk about the importance of trusting your doctor. And if you're not trusting them, maybe you need to find another.
And I believe that it still starts with you as the patient. With
Mm.
myself, that I mentioned earlier, I advocate for myself now to everything going into the doctor's appointment. And when I do, and they're honest and fair with me, after doing my homework on everything that I know, I don't never put the doctors to the test, but I ask them enough questions to where I know what's the wrong answer,
Right.
what the wrong answer is going to be. And if I hear that, the trust of that with doctors out the window, I go look for more. That's the beauty about it. You have options. You guys have options to find other doctors, get second opinions. If your doctor is on
Absolutely.
the up with you and answering all your questions, that's your doctor you want to stick with. Now you can build that trust, because having a doctor long term is very important that you can trust. I had my rheumatologist that diagnosed, say, let me back up, Raquel. When I was in the hospital getting diagnosed, it took 3 months. Nothing, no one but men doctors coming in and all kind of different specialties. A
Hmm.
rheumatologist, which was a woman, came in and she had the answer and diagnosed me. She was my rheumatologist for the next 27 years
Wow.
until she retired. That's how our relationship was. To this day, my nephrologist, 26 years. My primary doctor was 25 years till he retired. But I got these new doctors now. And again, now that I know what I know, I
Right.
make sure that I be proactive with myself and I get the responses from them that I'm looking for.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's important to have that relationship with your doctor and make sure that they're listening to you, you know. And if they're not, bring somebody with you. I want to get to this point, this question, and I think that I get this question a lot from people. Do you ever feel like when you go to the doctor that you're a guinea pig? I'm gonna let you answer that first.
Hi, Tasha. I used to. I used to. Yes, because I didn't know anything about this disease, because I wasn't being proactive with myself. I didn't know how to speak for myself in the medical terms. I just trusted that the doctors knew what they were doing. With my part of lupus being so severe, with everything going on, it's like we're going to have to do this, we're going to have to do that. A lot of it was trial and error. That's
Hmm.
how I knew what I was allergic to when it come to medication. That's how I knew that no, this didn't work, doc. We need something else. But I had to go through it. Yes, at that time I felt like a guinea pig. Let's fast forward now. If I was to go in today, they're telling me that there is something new that we want to try with you. Hold that thought, doc. Let me have all the information and I'll
Hmm.
talk to you on my next appointment.
Yep.
And that's when I do my own research. I know that doing my research on this, I've never had reactions to this, to that, to this, and I don't know and I can't predict, but I'm more likely looking to feel better. I'm looking to reduce my symptoms. And if the doctors believe this will work, my research shows that I've taken some of these things before, but it's never affected me. Why not?
Absolutely. I agree with you. If I ever feel like a guinea pig, you know what? Yeah, sure, why not? You know what? If I do, that's okay because maybe I'm gonna help somebody else. That's my mindset.
Yeah,
Because, you know, we wouldn't have the medical technology that we have today if we
right.
didn't have someone that was willing to go through a trial.
Thank you. That
And
part.
let's, you know, and it's hard for us as black men and women, we can only speak from my experience. So if you're on here and you're white, that's okay. Just pay attention because it is National Minority Health Month. So we want to make sure that we're touching all these subjects. It's
Yes.
it's hard for black men and women to get the health education they need about the disease that they have and about the medication. So
Yes.
how do you go about talking to your, especially black male,
Yeah.
how do you go about talking to your black men that have lupus as to how to talk to the doctor and the importance of trying things out? I always say I would eat nails if it would get rid of this lupus. I'd eat a nail in a minute. I'll chop on it with half the teeth that I have. So how do you talk to your men and tell them, look, it's okay. Try this, try that, trust your doctor enough to go through a trial that might help you and someone else.
It's definitely just being vocal about it to your doctors. If the doctors, are telling you to try something, it's again just the way that I said, instead of saying, okay, let's just do it, you have to ask questions. You have to make sure your doctor should already know what you're allergic to. So therefore they won't recommend something that has those things you're allergic to. So they won't do it. But then you got to ask, doc, what are the pros and cons? What are the side effects? And then get the information of what it is, and you can look it up and you can see, if some of these side effects to you outweigh some of the benefits. Then you might want to think, doc, I don't know, because we're all different. I may not experience this, but if I do, it's not going to be good. What else do you have on the table? So I tell my guys, if you're going to go see your doctor, you have something continuously giving you problems. Don't let them just up your medication milligrams, because that's what a lot of them will tend to do. No, to ask your doctor, is there another alternative that's another medication that may help, that works with my other medications, and let's try that. And so that's how I would pretty much recommend, because I don't want to go to my doctor. Prednisone, for instance, we all love it, we all hate it, and we have more reasons to hate it. I
Mhm.
remember back when I first got diagnosed, I went home with 85 milligrams of prednisone orally. And then
Mm,
as soon as I had my first flare, jump you up to 125.
mm,
You see what I'm saying? And oh, Raquel, I got bloated. I got sick.
sure.
I mean, it was so crazy. It was
It, it,
crazy.
and you sit there like, this can't be my life. This can't, this,
Oh,
what
so
can I
many,
do?
so
Yeah.
many times. So I just kind of make sure that when we talk to our doctors, we be vocal, we be open. There is no dumb questions. You got to remember that, guys, women, everybody. There is no dumb question when you're asking your doctor something. And if they
Absolutely.
treat you as if it's a dumb question,
Move
then
on.
get on your phone and go search for that new doctor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go search for that new doctor, and then get on the horn, and let their doctor's administration know as well, because a lot of times we will take this nonsense from doctors
Right,
and this gaslighting from doctors, and we won't let anyone else know about it. They have to
right,
know. We have to
right.
start letting people know. Gabrielle says we have to be our own best advocates. Absolutely, Gabrielle. Kimberly
Yes,
says
Gabriel.
being proactive is key. Take copious notes, journal your ups and downs. It's important, guys. You know,
Totally agree. Totally agree.
we're listening to Emmitt tell a story, but he is dropping some real gems here, and you got to pay attention. Got to pay
Thank
attention.
you.
Okay, we're gonna start wrapping this up, because you know what, we have to be mindful of your time. So I have 3 more questions for you.
Absolutely.
What is your fight song?
Ooh,
I love asking this question
ooh.
because it takes people so out of their element. It's like, wait a minute.
You know what? My fight song for the longest is the lyrics that definitely explained my life. And I don't even remember the guy's name, but it's I've been going through some things, but I got
Oh,
through it. Yeah, so I know some of y'all know exactly which one it
I
is.
know, I know what song you're
I
talking
can't
about.
remember the guy's name on it, but it's like when
I
I
love
hear
it.
that song, it's like I've been going through a lot of things, but I got through it. And
Mm,
then I kind of break it down, and it's like, you know what? What got me through it? It wasn't just Emmett alone. It was God, support,
absolutely.
and my faith. That's what got me
Absolutely.
through it. And if I can maintain those, I'll get through everything I go through. And so
Absolutely.
I look at everything as a positive. I kind of got a little arrogant at times where the doctor was like, yeah, your knee has gone through so much. I think it's just time to replace it. All right, doc, schedule it. I'm cool. Let's schedule it. Oh, that was
Right.
the most pain I've ever had. But
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
it's like, okay, but I had to do it. And so I got it done. I got through it. And here I am now, walking, doing all kind of things. So that was one of my biggest ones. Just the
I
fact
love
that
that.
the lyrics stuck with me.
I love it. What's a quote or phrase or prayer that gets you through the day?
My own quote that I say
What is it,
that
baby?
I every time I go through something, I tell them that pain is my power.
Mm,
And
mm.
through my pain is how I progress and how I succeed. That's going to be the title, and I'm going to put it out there, of my upcoming book, which is going to be
Yes.
a series, how I turned my pain into power.
I love it. Oh
And
my gosh.
that phrase is what literally I've been through for the past 29 years, the
Mm,
pain, and has led me to my power, that what I'm doing. It's not a
mm.
superpower. Just the fact that I can inspire somebody, that is a power.
Absolutely. I love that. I can't wait to read it. Can't wait to read it.
Yes,
My
yes.
my last question. I told you we were going to be on here for an hour. I told you.
And it went by so fast and so good. It's like,
I
wow,
love it. Yeah,
wow.
we could talk all day, y'all, but we're not going to do that
Amen.
tonight. So, looking at your journey with lupus, give me 3 pieces of advice to everyone who's listening about being encouraged and empowered. 3 pieces of advice.
Being one of the biggest powers is that you have control of your own strength. And because of that, stay positive in your journey. Stay
Mm,
positive. When you're staying positive, that helps you mentally and physically. That would be the first and foremost, number one.
I love it.
Number two, the advice I was always stay educated, not just on your disease, not just on, things, but general in life and everything that is coming forward to prevent you from getting your disease involved.
Mm.
If you stay educated and stay on top of your daily things, something new comes along, you'll always have in mind your disease and you're going to accommodate everything around your disease. Don't force it. Don't
Mm.
force it,
I love
because
that.
that's when you'll flare and that's when things will kind of interrupt things in your life that you don't want to be interrupted.
Mhm.
And then, of course, the third one is the advice: have fun every day. Have
Have
fun,
fun every day. Every
fun.
day.
Smile.
Thank
That
you.
comes with the positivity. That comes with a lot of the things that, if you back in the day, my my loneliness and sadness overwhelmed and overpowered the fun and smiles. Today,
Mm.
it's the other way around, and I feel so much better.
Right.
I feel so
Right.
much better through it
It.
all. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you got through it all.
When I'm going through my worst, I think of the best things that is going for me right now. And yes, it makes me smile and it fuels me to do even more, to increase that happiness, that fun that I'm doing. And according to the community, it shows, because the love that I get from everybody is so overwhelming. And I'm so grateful that I will keep doing my best to all of you.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Emmett, for sharing your heart, for being transparent, for doing all that you do for the lupus community. If you can leave off with one thing, what's one thing you want people to leave off with this whole discussion?
Just know that it is okay to not be okay. It is okay to have these down days, because this is what this disease do. But you don't have to stay there. You guys can always do something to where that can put a smile on your face. Achieve small goals.
Mm,
Achieve small goals. Those goals can be just walking out your house to your mailbox in full stride. That could be the next day walking a block and completing that goal. Very small goals, but attainable goals. And when you reach that goal, pat yourself on the back.
right.
You
Absolutely.
reach that goal, tell me, and I'll pat you on the back.
I love it.
People need to be rewarded for the simple things that they thought this disease can keep them from doing. And
Hmm.
that could be the simple things. You guys are more than your illness. You guys are stronger than your disease. And you'll get through it all. You'll get through it. There's
Awesome.
hope. There's hope.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much, Emmett. It's
Thank
been
you,
a
Michelle.
plum-pleasing pleasure talking to you. I so appreciate you sharing your story and being transparent. We'll do this again soon.
Anytime. Thank you,
All right.
everybody. Love you
Thank
guys.
you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And I hope that you gleaned something from Emmett's story. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be posting some of those gems that he put out there. So I appreciate you all. I
Yeah.
appreciate you all coming in. And I appreciate you, Emmett, for helping us and talking to us.
Thank you.
All right, guys. You guys have a great night.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.